There is a category of financial content that has existed on the internet for well over a decade. It takes different forms, articles, videos, posts, but the underlying message is always the same. Take a small amount of capital, apply a set of clever steps, and watch it multiply within a defined period of time. This content is not fringe. It appears on mainstream financial platforms. It is shared by people who consider themselves financially literate, and it is almost universally misleading. Not because the numbers are fabricated, but because the framing conceals something far more consequential than a bad investment. The premise is not designed to make you wealthier. It is designed to keep your attention on the wrong problem entirely. Consider the mechanics of the promise. 100 units of currency, 30 days, an empire. To achieve any meaningful compounding within 30 days, the required rate of return would be extraordinary, far beyond what any regulated, accessible instrument produces. The only instruments capable of such returns within that time frame also carry commensurate risk of total loss. That detail is rarely included in the premise, but the deeper structural problem is not the mathematics. It is the cognitive displacement the framing produces. When a person is focused on transforming a small amount of capital quickly, they are not examining the structural forces that determine their actual financial position, the interest rates embedded in their existing liabilities, the asymmetrical terms of the contracts they have already signed, or the compounding effect of costs they normalize as unavoidable. In other words, the promise of rapid small capital gains is most popular precisely among the people who can least afford to be distracted from their real financial architecture. Insight 1. The cost side compounds too. Most financially literate individuals understand that investments compound over time. Fewer apply that same framework to the cost side of their financial position. A revolving credit balance does not simply charge interest, it charges interest on interest at rates that typically exceed anything a retail investor can reliably produce on the asset side. The implication is direct. Eliminating a high-rate liability produces a guaranteed compounding return equivalent to that interest rate. No market participation is required. No volatility is incurred. The return is structural and certain. Yet this arithmetic is almost never the subject of viral financial content because it is not emotionally stimulating. It does not feel like an opportunity. Insight 2. Attention is a financial asset. Every hour spent consuming content about accelerating small amounts of capital is an hour not spent auditing the existing structure of one's financial life. Attention directed towards speculative opportunity has an opportunity cost, and that cost is the analytical clarity required to identify where value is actually being lost in structures already in place. Most professionals have signed contracts for credit facilities, vehicle financing, residential leases, or mortgage or rental commitments without fully modeling their long-term cost. The financial industry does not correct this. It benefits from the asymmetry of information and attention. Platforms that monetize financial anxiety have no incentive to redirect that attention towards the unglamorous work of liability analysis. Insight 3. Novelty bias is architecturally exploited. Human cognition assigns disproportionate weight to novel stimuli. Financial content producers and product designers are aware of this. The result is a systematic overrepresentation of speculative, high-novelty financial concepts relative to their actual utility, and a systematic underrepresentation of foundational, structural financial decisions relative to their actual impact. A person who optimizes the terms of a single large liability will, in most cases, improve their financial position more substantially than years of incremental speculative activity. That fact does not generate engagement. It does not produce a shareable narrative, and so it remains structurally invisible within the information environment most people inhabit. Practical framework. The framework that follows is not a sequence of investment actions. It is a reorientation of analytical priority, applied before any capital deployment decision is made. Step 1. Map all existing liabilities and their effective rates. Compile every current financial obligation, credit facilities, installment loans, vehicle financing, and mortgage or rental commitments. For each, calculate the effective annualized cost, not the nominal rate, but the true cost after fees, compounding structure, and term implications. Most people have never performed this calculation with precision. Common pitfall, treating the monthly payment as the unit of analysis, rather than the total cost of the instrument over its full term. Step 2. Rank by rate, not by balance.
finance, prioritized by their effective interest rate, highest first. This ranking identifies where capital deployed in repayment generates the highest guaranteed return. A high-rate consumer credit balance repaid early produces a guaranteed compounding return equivalent to that interest rate. No market participation is required. No volatility is incurred. The return is structural and certain. Yet this arithmetic is almost never the subject of viral financial content because it is not emotionally stimulating. It does not feel like an opportunity. Step 3. Audit recurring costs for structural displacement. Review all recurring expenditure, particularly subscriptions, service contracts, and insurance arrangements for costs that have been normalized without periodic renegotiation. Contracts are typically written to favor the issuing party over time. Renegotiation or cancellation of a single such arrangement can produce durable compounding savings. Common pitfall, assuming that a signed contract represents a fixed reality. Most financial arrangements contain provisions that permit renegotiation, particularly after the initial term. Step 4. Establish capital deployment only after rate arbitrage is resolved. Deploying capital into speculative or growth instruments while carrying high-rate liabilities is mathematically incoherent in most circumstances. The return required to justify that allocation exceeds what most accessible instruments reliably produce. Capital deployment decisions are sequenced, not simultaneous. Common pitfall, treating investment as a separate domain from liability management. They are the same calculation. Financially intelligent individuals do not dismiss the appeal of rapid capital growth. They understand it. They simply recognize that the appeal is a product of how information is structured, not a reflection of where genuine financial leverage exists. The structural question is never, how do I grow this amount quickly? It is, where in my existing financial architecture is value being extracted from me at a rate I have not examined? Those two questions lead to entirely different decisions, and in most cases to entirely different outcomes. If this reframing altered how you assess financial information, consider subscribing to this channel.